Hello, hello. My name is Brittany.
And I'm Kate.
And we are
The Fools.
Join us as we explore everything spiritual, astrological, and overall mystical.
Don't forget to follow your intuition, but more importantly, follow us at The Fools.
Hey guys, before we get this episode started, I just want to make sure that you are fully aware that this is a part 2 episode. So if you haven't already listened to last week's episode, it is the Astrology 101 kind of deep dive into your birth chart with our Midtown Mystic, Raven. Last week we talked about the houses and the signs, and this one focuses on the planets. So make sure you give that a listen before you give this one a listen, or else it might just seem like it starts out of nowhere, but it doesn't. So yeah, we love you. Thank you so much for listening. Bye. Okay, so we went through houses and signs. Now let's get into planets, which
I can't even remember all the planets. I have to sing the song and I don't even remember that.
I just think it's a real big mind fuck that it's not. I just think of Jupiter and then I'm like, oh, the big orange planet, but it's not technically the literal planet. It's
exactly
the energy. And that is something that I feel like I have to like constantly remind myself, or else I'm just like, oh, the literal gas ball in the sky controls me. But it's not.
Exactly. A lot of people too, like, I think that it's sort of a difficult concept to realize that we're really just talking about way higher energies. We're not talking about the physical location that you're looking at, but it does help because Jupiter is the biggest planet, and that Jupiter represents expansion, growth, those kinds of things, luck, fortune.
Do those energies rule those physical planets?
I mean, the physical planets, like, no, I mean, that's a great question.
Thanks.
I'm confused by it.
Yeah, because I thought like, oh, maybe those energies rule the physical planets, but it's like greater.
In what ways would it rule the physical planet? Like you go to Jupiter
like
and you
its
get lucky?
Actual physical appearance.
Yeah, just like the way that like it was like brought into the universe was like a physical representation of the energy.
Okay, this is like chicken before the egg thing. I get what you're saying. So yeah. The people that like our ancestors that established astrology, obviously they used the physical traits to help them create. So the sun, we all associate with like zest, brightness, life
energy, vitality, warmth.
Yeah. And so that is definitely has an effect on astrology, and what we have over time translated and spoken and formulated ourselves about it. Just like the moon is nighttime, it's female, it's receptive, it's in darkness, versus the male is radiant, positive, masculine. That's the sun. So there is definitely a lot of correlations there.
Isn't Mars literally like a red fireball, and Mars is like our fight, like
and Mars is red,
literally a little red planet, ball of anger. It looks like that.
It rules anger, it rules violence, it rules like physical. So where your Mars is going to tell you like where, if your body is healthy, how your body needs to outlet energy, because if you're have a lot of anger and things like that, you need to channel it in specific ways. A lot of people need exercise, or they need sports or dance or creativity if it's in Leo. Like, so yeah, Mars has a lot to do with if you're combative, if you're defensive, if you literally are looking for a fight all the time. Even in your words, that is what Mars rules. He's the god of war. You know what I mean? That kind of situation.
It's just like a little sassy.
Yeah.
Sounds a little bit more than fucking sassy, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I got a lot of Mars in my chart. So it's a lot of fire energy. Obviously, it's associated with fire. So the correspondences can really help you. I'm glad that you brought that up, because it's really helpful in these situations. It gets tougher on the outer planets.
I mean, we just did like basically Sun, Moon, and Mars, and those are all planets we're pretty well versed in. Mars basically because people are trying to live there, but other than that, the other planets aren't really known as well, the physical planets, as well as like, I guess, the energies and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I think actually maybe a lot of people know Venus is
sensuality,
sensual, probably, but
I mean, that's from art, right? That's art depicted by our ancestors,
the
and
Greek
so
mythology.
That's included in all of religion, all of spirituality, even witchcraft. They all have the same or original correspondences of whatever it is. And it pulls into astrology, where Venus, of course, rules love, it rules beauty, it rules harmony, it rules Libra, which is like Libra, or Libra rules Venus, which is why they have the same kind of traits. That's why Libras are balanced. That's why harmony is important. And anywhere where Venus is, especially if it's in Pisces, or if it's in sort of an artsy area, house, or planet, or sign, then you're going to be very artistic. You're going to have like a really refined aesthetic. You're going to be really beautiful to other people. It's a lot about how people see you, and if they think you're pretty or gorgeous or whatever it is, that's what Venus plays a role in.
What other planets we got?
Saturn, Big Daddy. Saturn, Saturn, I call it the cage. So Saturn is super, super necessary. It's also the ruler of karma and our ego, because it's what keeps us earthbound. If we didn't have Saturn, we would just be like, everything's cool. Like, we're all spiritual beings. We don't need to be here. We know all that we need to know. So Saturn is the one that puts obstacles in your way. It delays things on purpose. It blocks things. And this is so that you have like something to do. It's so that you have things to work through. And it also gives a lot of structure and organization to your life path, and to helping you really climb the ladder, and really like breaks yourself free of its limitations. So Saturn rules limitations, and it delays a lot of things.
Isn't your Saturn return the really gnarly time in your life?
Yeah, Saturn return is between usually like 28 and 31 or 32, and you can expect like either marriage, children, moving, losing your job, getting a new job, starting a business, like all those, like it's almost like a quarter midlife crisis, but at 29. And that's because Saturn is coming back. A Saturn return means that it's made its way back. It goes every 29 years, and it's back at the same spot that it was when you were born. And so it's like, I'm here, ready to shit up.
That's so funny. I literally moved during mine.
See?
I moved to like 29, like right before my 30th.
And you'd lived in that apartment for 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a breakup.
Yeah. No, I felt like I had
Exactly.
to, I mean, I had a lot of negative energy associated with that physical, like that apartment. So I feel a lot lighter now that I moved, but it took me so long because I'd been wanting to move for years. It's just funny that it aligned up.
That's really interesting too, because I was telling you that Saturn rules the 10th house, right? Capricorn. 10 in numerology is beginnings and endings, and it's the ending of cycles that are no longer for your highest good. Like that's what Saturn's about. So that makes a ton of sense that you were like not feeling great energy, and Saturn was like, time to go.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. I really feel like also, and I tell people this too, LA is crazy expensive. And the place that I ended up moving into, me and Max couldn't find something within our budget that met all of our criteria. That's why it took us so long to move. And then suddenly Max found that they had offered this crazy fat discount out of nowhere. And we were like, oh, maybe that's just like the place. But the apartment building's pretty full. So we're like, we have it was like $700 off a month. Like something crazy. And I was like, I swear to God, I fucking manifested that shit. Cause I knew I didn't want to spend. It was weird how it all lined up.
But perfect.
Yeah, that's the universe, man. It's amazing. It really is. But so see, Saturn is really, it gets a bad rap, and people are, quite mean to Saturn, but Saturn has a responsibility and a duty, and is willing to kind of be the asshole of the zodiac of astrology in order for you to grow. Like he's taking it all on for you. So he could be a good dad sometimes. Usually he's a dick.
But it's for your own good.
Aren't they all?
That's what they say.
And then okay, let me think about
Mercury.
Okay, Mercury is the planet of communication. Mercury, a lot of like teachers and people like that have their Mercury in Gemini, or they have it in those kind of air signs, like those kinds of things. Mercury is ruled by both Virgo and Gemini, which is interesting. And it is the house of communication. It's the house of almost like how we think, like how our brain operates. So I have Mercury in Pisces, which makes sense. I'm not a logical thinker. I literally don't understand logic.
Or emotions. What the fuck are you doing?
Or emotions. I'm just like symbols. Cool. This makes sense.
Floating.
Like I can piece together, symbols, which is very Pisces. So if
You are an incredible artist.
Yeah.
Wait, kind of
By
random.
Ravens NFT.
Do you have an internal monologue?
Okay.
That's a good plug.
I was just saying.
Do you have an internal monologue? I saw this TikTok that was like 50% of people
No.
don't have. You don't? You don't have someone in your voice being like, I'm going to grab a glass of water right now. This is stupid. Why is the planet dying? Oh,
no. My internal monologue, if it was anything, would just be like a flashing movie of like just shit happening, like just like symbols and color. It's usually like colors, and I'm not like thinking to myself. I just had that experience for like the first time last week, and I was like, is this my subconscious? Like, who am I talking to?
invited to this party.
I was like, wait, there's another one of us in here. Like, I don't know how I feel about this.
I think that is so weird because I am constantly thinking, and that's like why I can't sleep, is like I can't turn off the inner monologue. And I couldn't believe some people don't
Is
have.
your Mercury in Virgo? That's a total overthinker.
Mercury is in Leo, but it's in my.
Oh, it's in Leo.
In my.
So that's like a really expressive communicator. That's somebody that is very dramatic and
that makes sense.
Natural storyteller, born actor. Like Mercury and Leo, if you have that, you're born comedian, born actor. You're supposed to be expressing yourself in those kind of ways. So that's what Mercury rules.
Do you have an internal monologue?
Yeah. But she's not as active as yours.
Yeah, mine doesn't shut up, but that's so funny. Max has one too. Anyway, sorry to get off topic. I just assumed that was everyone's subconscious, was just like their mind being like,
conscious is hidden from me. My 12th house, I think that 12th house plays a part in the inner monologue, and we should poll people to see if they have one or not and what their 12th house is ruled by.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That would make sense. That mine doesn't shut up.
Okay,
Mine's
so that Mercury.
Yours is Mars.
Yeah. Mine's a little dick.
Yeah, the inner critic is an asshole for sure. We'll go faster because these ones are a little bit harder. So Neptune and Uranus are considered higher octave planets. So they're just a higher vibration of the other planets that are occurring type of thing. Neptune is ruled by Pisces, and Uranus is ruled by Aquarius. So Uranus is like the rebel in you. It's the person that wants to like break paradigms and go protest and like all of those kinds of vibes. That's what Uranus is. It also causes a lot of upheavals in your life and a lot of I call it like a reversal in polarity, but like a flip-flop, like switch kind
of
a
mini Saturn. It kind of is like more challenges in life and stuff like that than like the fun stuff.
You're spot on. Like it really is kind of like that for sure. And then Neptune is one of my favorites. It's ruled by Pisces and is really the spiritual planet. It rules spirituality and faith and is what gives psychic abilities, and it gives, while it's psychic and dreamy and all that, it can really unground you. It can really confuse you and like make everything foggy and unclear. And it can
that floaty energy.
Yes.
That floaty headspace.
Exactly. And so if you have Neptune in Pisces, or you have it like in one of those areas, or you have a lot of aspects to Neptune, you really need to ground yourself to pull that energy down, or you're literally going to be like, I call it, like you're just going to daydream all the time, never going to achieve your dreams, because you're only going to be in the dream world. You're never going to be grounded in reality. You're never going to be able to pull it down and bring them into fruition. So it all has its pros and cons, and that's why they have opposing energies, so that you can use the opposing energy to balance it and really make what you want happen and manifest.
That's what's also so interesting about getting your birth chart read, is because when you have this information and you're like, oh, my Neptune is like
afflicted,
really, giving me floaty vibes, I have to make the conscious effort to do the opposite and ground myself. So when you have that information, it's easier to like look at the faults that you have in your life and then counteract them so that you could live closer to your higher self.
Exactly. And that's what I do. I just try to find how to balance it and really work with the energy, especially like Neptune is one of the best examples. Neptune really can cause some serious anxiety and mental health issues. And like escapism, alcoholism, drug addict, like all of that kind of situations come from Neptune and Pisces energy. So if you can kind of understand what's going on and then use the opposing energy to balance it out, then yeah, at least you have somewhere to start, somewhere to help you out with.
Yeah,
and that goes for all the planets, whatever signs, those kinds of situations. So that was a great point.
I think the last one would be Pluto.
Oh God, Pluto.
Pluto's so
The
interesting
stepchild.
because Pluto is generational. It's like, is it the only planet like that?
No, so the planets all move at different rates. So obviously Saturn is every it depends. The sun every 24 hours, the moon every 28 days. Like it's all those kinds of aspects. So it just however fast it rotates around the earth or orbits around the earth, that will tell you how long it stays in that sign, kind of thing.
So Pluto's
If
just
that
like
makes
she's out there. Well, I only know that
don't-
because America's Pluto is returning like next year.
Yes.
And
From
America was
1776.
1776. So
But it's made a full 12 signs. So it's, you know what I'm saying? It's gone through all 12 signs. And that would be like, I think it's every 12 years, Pluto, something like that. I should really know that, but my brain is not obviously, like I said, logical.
it's just like we know.
So what does
It's like
Pluto
splatter.
represent?
Yeah.
So Pluto is ruled by Scorpio, and it has all that really crazy Scorpio energy of I call them like Plutonians. If you have a lot of Pluto in your chart, you are going to constantly be transforming. If Pluto's
that's
in the first
me.
house, you're transforming your first house, your physical appearance. If Pluto is in whatever house it's in, that's where you're going to have the most transformation occur. And transformation is just like the Tower card. It can be really scary and painful, and if you resist it, it's going to be way worse. And it also is the transformation of, like you said, we're coming back to our Pluto, it's the transformation of our society, our judicial system, our government, our how we interact. Like it will change all of that. It is basically the change of the planets, and it also rules sex, it rules death, it rules mystery, just like
So whichever
Scorpio.
whichever house Pluto is in, you can expect a lot of transformation in that
Yes.
aspect of your life.
And then if Pluto is aspecting any other planets, that is something you should really pay attention to. Like if you have Pluto conjunct Saturn, or like Pluto opposing Jupiter, like that would show that there's a lot of transformation in your money, and that your money is always going to be up and down. Like these are really important energies for you to see how they're commingling in their interpersonal relationship, because it affects you.
I think we forgot about Jupiter.
Well, we kind of talked about it in the beginning, but Jupiter is
the
my
beginning.
favorite
Oh.
one. Yeah, it's ruled by Sagittarius. It represents expansion, growth, luck, fortune, money. If you have a really like well aspected Jupiter, you're typically going to have a little bit of an easier life than other people. You likely don't have a scarcity mentality. You likely have a lot of luck on your side. You're in the right place at the right time. You're meeting the right people that are the ones that have all the opportunity for you. That's what Jupiter rules the most. If you have like an afflicted Jupiter, you have some weird stuff in Jupiter. A lot of it is scarcity going down the family line. Kay has like some of that, but it's a lot of it is your own belief in yourself. If you believe you can make money and Jupiter's on your side, you're gonna make money. Like, you know what I mean? It really does rule your income and things like that. Kate's is in the second house, which is the house of resources. And it's also being activated and stuff right now by this eclipse. So Kate should be getting some money soon. We'll look back on that, but I see businesses opening, money making, lots of good opportunity for Kate.
Cha-ching.
Love that.
Yeah.
So.
Am I a Plutonian? I can't remember.
Well, you are a Scorpio ascendant, but you really don't have too many aspects to Pluto. A Plutonian would definitely be a Scorpio stellium. It would be somebody that also has a lot of like Pluto conjunct, Pluto square, Pluto, like if it's playing a really large role. Pluto also represents like abusive stuff. So Pluto's not great. Like if you have Pluto in the fourth house, that's likely an abusive household where you physically were beaten or mentally abused, like emotional abuse. A lot of people in domestic violence situations, there's a lot of Pluto energy going on there. It's really like toxic cycles kind of energy.
Hard to
don't
break.
like it.
Hard to break those.
We talked about midheaven being the career, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So what was opposite of midheaven?
That's called IC. So midheaven is medium coli, MC. And then the opposite is the cusp of the fourth house, which is IC, ruled by mom.
Interesting.
And what is that? So if midheaven is career, IC is typically
home.
home.
So it's your personal life. Like if you're thinking of home, think of like your own shell, right? Like think of you, like your inner home. That's what IC rules. It's how you are in private. It's how the people that you're really close to, how they can perceive you, versus the 10th house is like how you come off in public. So if you were famous, obviously your public persona is different than your personal persona. And that's kind of how that 10th house and 4th house operate.
Interesting. Well, I think that brings it full circle.
I mean, we could keep going.
It was a lot of words.
Yeah.
We will have to, maybe have you back in the future if you're down, talk more about it.
Yeah. If you guys have any questions or would like Raven to come back on the podcast and you have like certain things you'd want her to touch on, you can always email us at contactfoolspodcast@gmail.com and let us know. We're always checking. And also you can reach out to Raven yourself, like we said, on her Instagram or through her website.
Or the TikTok.
Or her TikTok, what is your TikTok handle?
The Midtown Mystic.
The Midtown Mystics. You got that brand. Boom. Yep. Midtown Mystic everywhere. But before we usually end our episodes, we pull a tarot card. Do you want to do that with us?
Yes, I brought tarot cards too. So
it's actually nice because you did one.
Yeah,
that we could use, but we could do one more.
Let's do a new one just for the ending.
Is this for the collective or?
Yeah,
yeah.
I pulled out also my Monology, which does have some astrology in it. If we wanted to do just like one of each.
Yeah, let's do one of each.
We usually just do it and see like what the cards say about what we just talked about, which is always really fun because they're always like spot on.
Should we see what it was?
Yeah. I love that your blurry background, if you guys are watching on YouTube, is having a fucking panic attack as you're moving.
Okay. Judgment. So this is actually Judgment for me, it represents looking back on everything we did and choosing if it was worth it or not, like kind of how we're reevaluating our lives. It's also one of those things that tells you to stop and take a look at how far you've grown. Like just stop for a second and really see those marks on the wall that you made and see everything that you've become, because we're so used to wanting to look at, oh, I'm not there yet, or I still have so much further to go. And it's like, wait a second, take a look back, really see all of the battles you've gone through, all of the growth, all of these kinds of things. And it's about celebrating the small successes.
Yeah, celebrate the little wins. We never do.
I also think it's interesting that you pulled Judgment when we're talking about your astrology chart, which is basically just a reflection tool. So it's like, not that you're judging yourself, because that kind of has like a harsh connotation, but it is kind of like, all right, maybe the reason that these things are the way they are is because of how your planets are aligning, and that you can use that judgment to like get a closer look at yourself.
I think that's spot on. It really is about like step back and see the bigger picture, which is really what a natal chart is. It's like step back and see all of yourself, see all of the facets, all of the different things that make you. So yeah, I think that's spot on what you just said. How beautiful. Okay, let's see if there's a
moon card for us.
You and your loved ones are safe.
We love that.
It's a crabby. It's a Cancer crabby. It's a Katie. Safe and protected. I think that really too is talking about like that it's safe as well to look into this information. It's not going to unless, I mean, when you get a chart with me, I do warn people like you need to be ready for this information. But if you're just like looking at some of this stuff, there's no harm in it. It really is a tool, like you said, to self-reflect. It really is to help you. And it can be kind of scary to know all of this information about yourself. But I think if you're willing to step into the journey, there's a lot of healing there and a lot of growth that is worth it.
And potential understandings of like things you were just inherently doing that you maybe didn't reflect on. So
Yeah.
Just super important.
it's fun. I think that reading just encourages people to go look at their charts, get a little
Yeah, just
curious,
love.
figure out where their planets are, what their midheaven's saying.
And then use that information to further the journey.
Yes, catapult. I call it like, yes, like use it to catapult yourself. You can go above and beyond your chart. You can blow your chart out of the water if you so choose. Just like you said, free will. You can really do whatever you want with the information.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for taking your time and energy to share all of your vast knowledge with us and our listeners. We're so thankful and grateful. I literally think that we mention you once
Every episode.
a podcast episode.
You guys
yeah.
are so sweet. Oh my gosh. I
now
can't. I'm
everyone
gonna
knows.
turn red.
Oh, and for reference, if you've been listening and you listened to the episode where I manifested myself in a window, I was with Raven when
Oh,
that
yeah.
happened.
Oh yeah.
So also don't forget to go click on the Double Rainbow podcast where Raven and Olive
Please.
dive even deeper into mystical, interesting topics.
Yeah.
So thanks
Yeah,
for being here. I
100%.
love you.
Thank you for having me. I love talking to you guys. I could do it forever. I miss you.
This podcast could have been 10 hours. And honestly, I have been mad about it. I think this information is so interesting. Yay.
We'll get you back on here
Totally.
eventually.
Against your free will. Okay, love you.
Bye.
Bye.